Good evening to you. I'm Marcelino Benito. It's great to have you with us for this digital newscast. Tonight, Houston city leaders and public safety officials are keeping a very close eye on the winter weather, and final preparations are underway at this hour. A news conference is about to begin with Mayor Whitmire, who will be giving updates on how the city is responding to the winter storm. Let's go ahead and listen in.
Very successful. Just like tomorrow, we will have our MLK, Martin Luther King parades in the morning. We expect it to be very cold. People need to dress accordingly, but enjoy themselves, and HPD and all of our first responders will be there to assure their safety. Today, I've asked for this press conference to talk to Houstonians. I've been convinced that we are about to experience a very serious and dangerous weather episode. We've been preparing since Thursday for the intense temperature, but now we've learned that there will be precipitation. I want to thank my council members that joined me, Peck, Kamen, Martinez, and all the first responders and department heads that play such a vital role in making Houston safe. We are prepared, but the reason I'm speaking to Houstonians this evening is we need your assistance. We need your help to let us help you. We need to limit our activity starting tomorrow evening. We're already initiating our warming centers. As we talk, we have 10 City of Houston warming centers covering the entire city. We're collaborating with our county partners to see that the region, the unincorporated areas, and the incorporated area of Houston and other municipalities are covered with warming centers. But it's much, much more in limiting our activities. First, HISD has canceled school for Tuesday and Wednesday. The courts have been canceled. And let me continue to emphasize during this press conference, we're going to be safe, we're going to be responsive, but we need Houstonians to assist us by limiting their activities. We are doing everything possible from the city to prepare for this winter storm. Public Works has been out treating all of our streets and thoroughfares today with chemicals that will assist us in de-icing. TxDOT, our partner, is handling their highways and overpasses. Right now, we're focusing on the temperatures. Like we did last weekend, tonight at 6 o'clock, the warming centers will be open across Houston. I will leave here and accompany the chief and other first responders to encourage those homeless people that choose to stay on the streets. We'll do everything possible. It is so sad to see myself and others plead with the homeless to please go to a warming center. And for a variety of reasons, mental health being one of them, they just resist. But we will do everything we can. They'll be fed, and we will assist them in any way possible. Tomorrow, we will continue to prepare for the precipitation that we believe will arrive late tomorrow evening. The National Weather Service has provided us with an estimate of around midnight tomorrow. So Houstonians can expect, based on the data, the computer models, to wake up Tuesday morning to icy conditions, several inches of snow, rain, and like I said, stay at home if at all possible. Employers should use their judgment. If they're not essential workers, let them stay at home. And we believe it'll also continue into Wednesday. Our warming centers, for instance, will be open 24 hours a day until sometime Thursday. But I can't emphasize enough that Houstonians are going to have to use common sense and be smart. Look out for our vulnerable population. If you have seniors in assisted living facilities, check on them. Get your food and water and supplies tomorrow. Prepare your home, your plants, your pets. Bark will be at the warming centers to assist us with our pets. So it's kind of all hands on deck. I look around with these professional department directors, first responders. I'm so proud that everyone, even when they have families and homes that they need to be protecting, are true public servants and joining me in making sure Houstonians are protected and provided for. Nothing is more important than our safety and to be prepared for this storm. Metro will have its lines running until 9 o'clock tomorrow evening. The rail will continue on a limited basis to run. But most public facilities will be closed Tuesday. City employees cannot come to work on Tuesday. The courts are closed. We will make an announcement Tuesday at noon as the conditions Wednesday. HISD, as I've mentioned, as other area school districts are closed. What we have to do, and I will call upon some of our more vital services, and quite frankly, everyone behind me is providing, whether it's our streets or our airports, but the airport is chosen, and I'll let our director speak to it, his precautions. So if you plan to travel out of Bush or Hobby on Tuesday, it will be closed. Let me just also talk about our first responders. First, I'm so proud of today's marathon coverage. We had over 1,000 HPD officers along the route, partnering with DPS, federal agencies. We're going to see the same kind of dedication and commitment the rest of this week. First responders, fire and police are willing to work overtime. We've already advised them that they will work more than one shift. So they're working overtime. And I mentioned a moment ago, they have families and houses that they're concerned about as well, but they're putting Houstonians' safety at their highest priority. I'd like to, at this time, address the airport, and I'm going to ask the director to come forward and talk about the service. I've already received notices from people knowing can they expect their arrivals and departures from both Hobby and Southwest. Also, let me emphasize the preparation of your pipes, the wrapping of your pipes. We discourage the leaking of your pipes because it affects water pressure for fire suppression. But wrap your pipes if at all possible, and then, of course, you can drip them if you have no other recourse. But let me call Jim at this time to address the operations of our airport.
Yes, so we've coordinated with our airline partners, and for Tuesday, we will have the airport will be closed. At that time, the airlines have implemented their travel waiver programs, so you do have the ability to go to your airline and to change your flights without change fees. So make sure you, again, check with your airline at that. We will, again, look at Monday at midnight, we'll be closing the airport. And so that will go through Tuesday. On Tuesday, as we get later into the day and we see what the storm has impacted, that we'll sit with the airlines and we will, again, update what our plan will be going forward for potentially Wednesday. But again, for Tuesday, we will be closed from an airport perspective, so please check with your airlines to make other arrangements besides Tuesday flying at the airports.
Thank you. When we thank our first responders for working around the clock, extra shifts, I consider Public Works first responders. Jim, Aka, will you come explain what preparations you're doing for our streets and city operations?
Thank you, Mayor. As the Mayor mentioned, crews from Public Works today began pre-treating critical overpasses, bridges, and other streets and corridors throughout the city. We'll continue and repeat that treatment again tomorrow. Of course, as you know, Houston's has a massive footprint, more than 16,000 square lane miles of roadway throughout the city. That literally makes it impossible for us to treat every single one of those areas. So we're strategically deploying where we can to treat in those critical areas. What I do want to caution everyone, though, is that as the weather comes in and you see things on the ground, Don't let our pre-treatment of that area fool you into thinking that that makes it safe. Stay off the roads, please, as much as you possibly can. The solution that we apply is a brine solution. Really all that does is it lowers the freezing point of water on the road. It doesn't prevent water from freezing once it gets too cold, and we are expecting some of the coldest weather we've seen in a long time. So the roads will be very dangerous. They may be covered with snow. You won't be able to see the ice underneath that. Please stay off. Everything that you do there is helpful for us. Regardless, we have crews that are riding out the storm at critical facilities throughout the city. They'll be assisting primarily our first responders and police and fire to make sure that they can get to areas they need to make sure that ambulance services have clear paths. I do want to mention also and talk a little bit about the water system. As the mayor mentioned, we encourage everyone to take all precautions that you can at home. Wrap your pipes that are exposed outside. Please make sure that you've shut off your sprinkler systems, you've drained them properly to prevent any sort of a catastrophe from happening. Know where your shut-off valve to the water system in your home is. If for some reason you have a burst pipe, know where you can shut off the water to your home. If you are unable to find that or you have a problem that persists, call 311. Our staff will work with you to help you know how to find that in your home and how to shut the water off. If you see a major eruption of water, a major water line break, for instance, please call 311 immediately so that we can do the best we can to address it. As the mayor mentioned, we ask that you not drip water in your homes to keep it going. Open the cabinets under your sinks to let that go. Water pressure is a real issue when everyone drips water at the same time. And I think you don't have to look any further than the catastrophes we've seen with the fires in California to see where hydrants didn't have adequate pressure to them. That's because when you open all of the spigots up at the same time, pressure becomes an issue. And we certainly would face that here in Houston. So if you can, please avoid dripping water as much as you can. But regardless, Mayor, we're well prepared. We have folks that'll be staged and ready to go and respond as we need to. Again, if you have an issue, you see an issue, contact 311 and we'll respond as quickly as we possibly can.
Thank you, Randy. In an attempt to stay warm and be safe, the fire chief plays such a critical role. I would ask Chief Munoz to come speak to space heaters and also our danger of carbon monoxide. Tom?
Thank you, Mayor. As the Mayor mentioned, this is going to be an extreme weather issue that we're facing. The fire department has been prepared, has been planning since Thursday to make sure that we're fully staffed. So thank you for the support on that, Mayor and administration. As he mentioned, time and time again during these times of extreme freezing temperatures, people have a tendency to might use or will use their generators, which creates carbon monoxide. Every year we do see some people, unfortunately, get overcome by the carbon monoxide, which can result in death. So with that said, please pay attention to where you place your generators. Also, unfortunately, there are some people that have to resort to using open flames inside their homes, such as the fire pits that they use inside the house in the garage to try to keep the house warm. Please we definitely discourage you from doing that. Your heaters, make sure that those heaters are within a safe distance from anything that might be flammable, and make sure that you know the surroundings of where those heaters are at. But again, please stay off the roads, as the mayor has mentioned, and pay attention to your surroundings where you place those open flames. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Chief Diaz, would you address our HPD officers in particular? Would you address the outreach for our homeless that your department leads, and you and I will be partnering later this evening? So how would somebody reach one of those outreach officers?
Thank you, Mayor. Again, thank you, everybody. Please contact the police department. We have the centers open. Our hot teams are working around downtown, mostly, where we're making contact with our homeless population to make sure that they have what they need. Our focus is on getting them into a shelter to avoid a tragedy, loss of a life. But please make sure that you are contacting us. I know sometimes the homeless population doesn't have cell phones, so we're actually out on the street. The mayor and I will be there shortly and make contact with people to make sure that they know that there are shelters available, that they can bring their pets, that there will be a little bit of food for them, that the centers will be open until probably Thursday to make sure that they're warm and that they're safe. Also, I just want to cover if you must get out, if you have to drive to work, please give yourself some distance, slow down. If it's snowing, if you're having to drive at night, make sure that you drive slower because the roads are dark and you might hit on a patch of ice and you put our first responders at jeopardy trying to get to you in an event like that. So we don't want anything to happen to our motoring public. So make sure that you're driving with caution. If you can, please stay home, like to echo what the mayor said. Please stay home. Our first responders have been planning since Thursday. It's all hands on deck. Everyone's working. Every division of the police department is working, ready to protect the community. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Our most vulnerable population is a real focus for all of ours. So I would like our Chief Recovering Resilience Officer for the City of Houston to come speak how we're partnering with the nonprofits and our charities to see that everyone is provided for. Angela Blanchard.
Thank you, Mayor. So first of all of the people that you're seeing here have made our plans with the utmost empathy, focused on people most likely to be harmed by what's coming in the form of extreme cold. So first on that list are our unhoused neighbors. We have a number of partners, the Coalition for the Homeless and many others that are reaching out, encouraging people to make good decisions and go to warming centers. Some of the concerns homeless folk typically express are, can I bring my belongings? Yes, they can. They can bring their pets. They can bring their belongings. We want people to go to the warming centers and know they will be welcome. If you have an opportunity to encourage the homeless people in your area to go to these warming centers, please do so. It's being a good neighbor. Second, very vulnerable seniors. Seniors are vulnerable to extreme weather, extreme cold, and oftentimes they may live in facilities in which the heat is not entirely reliable. So yesterday and today, the Area Agency on Aging was checking on every senior that receives services through the congregate sites or who receives home-delivered meals. Shelf-stable meals have been delivered to seniors in anticipation of the inability to make those deliveries on Tuesday, Wednesday, and so forth. Finally, with respect to our nonprofit partners, we are so grateful for the Coalition for the Homeless, the Houston Food Bank, the United Way, and I encourage everyone to just remember, for a true emergency, 911. For answers to questions, for rides to warming centers, for other kinds of help, call 311. Call the United Way's 211 line if you have specific concerns about the conditions in your home or any other potential vulnerability. So please understand you can get a ride to any of the 10 warming centers. You get to choose where you want to go, and we want you to be comfortable, and you will definitely be welcome there. Thanks to all of our partners that are helping in this effort, and thanks to all of you, the residents of this city. We know we can count on you to reach out to the neighbors right around you. No one can get to your neighbor faster than you can, and no one can help you quicker than your neighbor. Reach out and check on one another. Thank you.
Thank you, Angela. I want to emphasize that the Emergency Center and its director, Brian Mason, and his team will be in this center around the clock until the temperatures improve later this week for any unexpected emergencies that we haven't covered. But let me, before I answer the questions and obviously translate to our Spanish-speaking residents, I want to thank everyone that is collaborating with us. I've been in touch with county commissioners today that are sharing their resources inside the city of Houston. We've been in touch with the State Emergency Center, our federal congressional offices, the public safety agencies in our area and at the state. So now I guess, and before I yield to Anna, let me just appeal to the public. we need your collaboration. That's really the message that I want to leave here tonight with. The city of Houston is prepared for severe weather, lower activity, look out for one another, but let's collaborate with one another. If you see a neighbor or loved one that needs something, reach out to them and contact your city resources. With that said, Anna, would you come translate for us?
Voy a dar un resumen breve para nuestra comunidad de habla hispana. Estamos aquí para decirles que la ciudad de Houston está preparada. Hemos visto primeramente con el maratón y vamos a ver mañana con el desfile de MLK que nuestros bomberos y nuestras agencias policíacas están preparadas. No tuvimos ningún problema esta mañana con el maratón, todo fue un suceso y va a seguir siendo así. El pronóstico meteorológico indica condiciones de nivel históricas para nuestra ciudad. Las condiciones en la calle y todos los transportes serán imposibles hasta más o menos el miércoles. El martes daremos información actualizada acerca de cómo se verá.
All right, we've been listening to Mayor Whitmire and learning more about how the city is preparing for the Arctic blast, calling it a serious and dangerous weather episode. The mayor asking Houstonians to limit activity starting Monday evening and to stay home if at all possible. Travel, we know, will be treacherous once the snow starts moving in. Public Works has treated major roads and thoroughfares. TxDOT has treated highways and overpasses. But again, the best thing to do is to stay in your home. Several inches of snow are expected, and it's not just the roads we're talking about. The city announcing Bush and Hobby airports will be closed starting Tuesday at midnight. That means hundreds of cancellations. Officials also asking Houstonians to not drip their faucets. Doing so could cause issues with water pressure, and we certainly don't want that. 10 city warming centers opened at 6 p.m. tonight and will stay open 24 hours until sometime Thursday. That's according to the mayor. Law enforcement will be out with the mayor later this evening trying to encourage the homeless to accept the help and head to those warming shelters that will open in about 3 minutes now. Lots of important information. If you missed any of it, you can watch the full press conference on our website at khou.com. All right, let's go ahead and turn things over now to meteorologist Pat Kavlin, tracking the latest on this Arctic blast. Pat, walk us through it all.
All right, so we have made a few changes to the snowfall forecast. We'll show you that in just a second, but things are really starting to come into focus and into picture with what we're expecting with this storm. Live look right now towards downtown. High temperature in the books today, remarkably colder than yesterday. You certainly felt it if you were outside, especially for the marathon. 46 the high temperature. Woke up to temperatures near freezing this morning. Right now, we are at 41. It feels like 34, though. The wind still making things feel even colder, and that wind from the north will continue to pull in more cold air for tonight and into tomorrow, and that will set the stage for this storm as we get into Tuesday. So here's what to expect. Bottom line, there is no sugarcoating this. This will be a crippling winter storm, not just for southeast Texas, but for a large swath of area from Texas going all the way through the deep south, through Louisiana, through Mississippi, Alabama, even parts of Florida and Georgia. Travel to be completely halted. Both airports close at midnight tomorrow getting into Tuesday. So midnight Tuesday, Monday night into midnight Tuesday, airports close, travel will be halted. And then once the storm is over Tuesday afternoon, we're not done with the threat because extreme cold will set in then for Tuesday night, getting into Wednesday morning before we can finally start to really thaw things out and get improvements going. So weather impact alert in effect as we get towards Tuesday and then Wednesday as well. Winter storm warnings now in effect. This is an upgrade from yesterday. Yesterday it was winter storm watch. Now that we are closer to the actual storm, they upgraded this to a warning. But again, it's not just us. Look at this map. From the U.S. and Mexico border all the way through Louisiana, we've got winter storm warnings, and then beyond that, winter storm watches getting into the Florida Panhandle. We're talking about the Gulf Coast beaches included in this winter storm, and that also goes all the way up towards places like Savannah and Charleston. So here's the bottom line. We're expecting heavy snow and sleet as we get into Monday night and Tuesday. The timing on this from 6 p.m. Monday to 6 p.m. Tuesday. So the timing has not changed at all from yesterday. There's really high confidence in that. The biggest impact will be impossible or at least exceptionally dangerous travel across all of southeast Texas. So for the overnight, we're clear, we're cold, and still breezy. Temperatures drop to the upper 20s and low 30s. Tomorrow, our storm system begins to develop here across the lower Texas coast. Clouds begin to fill in ahead of it, but we don't see anything until the overnight. That's when snow finally starts to fill in. As quick as it's in, it's out by Tuesday afternoon. We actually may get some sunshine, but the morning hours Tuesday will be filled with heavy periods of snow. So here's the latest future track. We will stop the clock 10 p.m. Monday. Steady snow already breaking out for areas north of town. I-10 to the south, it's snow showers, it's maybe some sleet showers with ice pellets and mixed precipitation, but it's on the lighter side until probably after midnight. That's when things really start to fill in from the city and point south. Wherever you see the blue, that indicates snow. Wherever you see that pink, that indicates mixed precipitation. So snow, sleet, some ice, maybe some freezing rain, although I really think this is primarily a snowstorm for us. There's 2 a.m. We take you all the way through sunrise Tuesday, 6 to 7 a.m. Snow is still thumping here across I-10, coming down heavy at times, maybe 1.5 to 2 inches per hour. We've got mixing down at the coast. As we get you through the morning hours, snow continues, finally starting to shut off for areas to the west by 10 and 11 a.m. Still coming down now for the coast out towards Chambers County, Port Arthur, and Beaumont, and then eventually it all begins to exit by the time we get to Tuesday afternoon, and then sunshine starts to come out across the area. Ice accumulations look very, very light, if anything at all. This is really good news because this would be the biggest issue in terms of power disruptions across the area. You need this ice to weigh down tree branches, to weigh down power lines, to disrupt power, and we don't really see that being a huge concern. With ice totals like this in the few hundredths to maybe 1/10 of an inch, you will get a glaze on roadway surfaces, making travel even more difficult, but you really have to get to the 1/4 to 1/2 an inch accumulation range for this to weigh down these power lines and tree branches. So this is our high-resolution in-house computer model. That's what this is spitting out for snowfall totals. The general idea is I-45 into the east, heavier amounts, lighter amounts the farther west you go. On the American GFS model, more of a bullseye here, extending south and west, including the city of Houston, all the way down towards the coast with lesser amounts farther north. The European model, a little more widespread here, including our northern areas, with everyone seeing a pretty large swath of snow. This is the brand new official forecast from us here at KHOU. Notice the numbers have changed quite a bit from yesterday, and they've gone up across the entire area, and this does include the coastal spots. So for coastal Matagorda and Brazoria counties, talking about 1 to 3 inches of snow. This is from Monday night into Tuesday. Once you get farther north, Fort Bend County, Austin, Colorado County, all of Harris County, now this is the entire city of Houston, getting into Liberty County, up the East Tex Freeway, all of Montgomery County, 3 to 5 inches of snow. And notice that darker blue does extend south towards Galveston. I think we could end up with 3 to 4 inches of snow out towards Galveston, which would be just a remarkable feat. And then notice this, as you go far east along I-10 towards Beaumont, in Louisiana, we could be talking about over 1/2 foot of snow near the Texas and Louisiana border. So a historic storm on the way for us here in southeast Texas. But it doesn't end there. As we get done with this storm and we get into the overnight Tuesday and Wednesday, we could see air temperatures dropping well into the teens for a few areas, low 20s and teens. And when you factor in the wind, we're talking about dangerous wind chill values here in the single digits and teens. So some dangerous, brutal cold on the way once we get the storm out of here, meaning anything that melts after the storm exits Tuesday afternoon will refreeze into a sheet of ice as we get to Wednesday morning. So for the overnight tonight, cold, still blustery, 28 for Acres Homes, 30 in the Heights and Montrose, 29 for Copperfield, 30 in West Chase, same out towards Allendale. We'll do 26 in Atascocita and Cypress, 27 for Tomball, 30 in LaPorte, 36 Galveston, mid-20s for a good part of the area, though, once you get out of Harris County. Tomorrow, temperatures will actually be above freezing for a period of time. Mid to upper 30s within the Beltway, 39 for Tomball, same for LaPorte and Alcott. But the clouds will increase. I think we'll flirt around 38 degrees in the city. Could see some lower 40s at the coast. But cold air will rush in quickly. And as we get to tomorrow night, that's when snow begins to fall. So much of tomorrow, again, is dry. It's just cloudy. We work in that snow and sleet chance around sunset and after dark. Weather impact alert then in effect for Tuesday. It is heavy snow for the first half of the day. Second half of the day, the snow's out of here. We'll actually see sunshine. Any bit of melting that occurs with that sunshine will refreeze as temperatures drop to 14 degrees Wednesday morning. So that weather impact alert in effect for Wednesday is for that hard freeze. Upper 30s and for your high temperature Wednesday, which means more melting. But then again, 23 degrees Thursday morning. So more refreezing, more ice. It won't be until the weekend that we finally see overnight temperatures back above freezing. And look at that, maybe even a rain chance with high temperatures back to the upper 60s. So getting 2 seasons in 1 week here, but all of our attention, of course, on that time frame from Monday night all the way through Tuesday, but maybe even getting into Wednesday as well.
So what you're telling people is to stay home.
I think the advice that the officials are giving that you should be prepared to stay home from Monday afternoon to Monday evening all the way through Wednesday is prudent advice. And obviously not everyone will have that option with emergency first responders,
journalists,
and there are other essential jobs out there that you just have to go to work for. The key will really be to drive slow. The good news, it doesn't look like it's an ice storm. So snow is slick to drive on, but it's not impossible to drive on as long as you drive extremely slow.
Rough few days, we'll get through it. Thanks, Pat. Now is the time to take action, though, to keep you, your family, and your home safe. Just text the word FREEZE to 713-526-1111, and we'll send a link straight to your phone with important winter weather resources that include safety tips, a list of school closures that continues to grow, and warming centers, and the latest updates on that power grid. And be sure to join us on KHU 11 Plus and on air for continuing coverage of the Arctic Blast starting Tuesday morning at 4. We'll have updates all day long, both on our streaming platform and on TV. That is our time for now, but we'll have a lot more for you tonight. Enjoy your evening, and we'll see you on TV at 10.